¿Qué haces en lo más profundo de la selva?
Well, first of all, I absolutely loved the film.
Gracias.
Incredible. It's a masterpiece. Seriously, I loved it. And I mean, I love animals, so that's, but it's so well done. It's amazing. So one question for me that I'm happy about is like it's all 3D. There's no real animals, so
Right,
you don't make them
right.
suffer. So
Yes.
was that, I'm just asking that, maybe it had nothing to do, but was that one of the reasons why you chose to do the film, because you had to do it in 3D as opposed to use like real animals?
Sure. I mean, I think we've reached a point where you can make a movie without animals. It's better for the movie. It's better for the animals. And if people want to look to see if it's believable, you could point to this film and say it's believable even if you have them talking. So I think it's a really interesting moment in history. You're seeing a few movies using techniques that we're using here, like Gravity did it in space, and it was so interesting to me, especially in the hands of such a talented filmmaker. I felt completely transported by a film that was about a subject I didn't think I'd be interested in, but because the artistry is getting so good and the animation's getting so convincing, it opens up all these new subjects for treatment using these techniques. And to be the first film that uses this type of level of CG rendering to depict the jungle was very exciting for me.
Do you think animals in general, I think that's probably what I get from this film, have more respect for nature than humans do?
I think animals fit into a harmony with nature, and I think that hopefully our version of Jungle Book draws attention to the fact that the way that Mowgli perseveres is by fitting into nature and by respecting it and being protective of it. And I think that's different from other versions of the film, because when Kipling wrote about nature, man's relationship with nature was much different. Mm-hmm. Nature was very overwhelming, and humans needed to survive within it. And now, in these next generations, I think that we have to remind ourselves and our children that we have to protect this if we want to preserve it, because it's not going to be here forever if we don't go out of our way to do that.
Mm-hmm. So when Kipling wrote the book, it was kind of a way to show through animals how society, reflect how society was, and to give kind of moral lessons to people. What kind of lesson could we get after watching your version of the Jungle Book?
I think and this speaks to maybe a very American theme, but I think it's universal that, what's interesting about Mowgli is that he doesn't fit in, but all the animals come together to help him, and he does feel part of the community, and the villain, Shere Khan, wants to kick him out or kill him because he's different. And I think what's interesting about America is that there's all different cultures, all different types, and when we're at our best, we're all working together to create the identity of our country, which is made up of thousands of different identities that come together. And I think each generation has to remind itself of that, because I think that's what makes us strong, and that's what makes us creative and makes us interesting and dynamic. And whether it's food or music or film, I think it's our cultural variety that gives us our identity. And I think that's something that I hope is one of the messages that comes through this.
I will be talking to you for another 30 minutes, but we don't have more time.
Great.
Thank you, Jon.
Yo